Hey moms and dads, I just wanted to make this video about how we successfully sleep trained our baby for his bedtime using the cry it out method, and we did extinction. So if you are curious about how we did it exactly, I'm going to go through the step-by-step process and also some tips and tricks that we learned along the way that will hopefully help you have success as well. Okay, so for his bedtime, we did cry out extinction, and that means we did not go in and do any checks or shushing and patting, just because I know this guy's personality. It would probably just make him more angry and upset and, make the process longer. So anyways, here's how it was successful. The first night he cried for 45 minutes and fell asleep. Second night he cried for 15 minutes and fell asleep. The third night he only cried for less than 3 minutes and fell asleep. And by the fourth night, we put him down and he was not crying at all. He just played a bit and then went to sleep. And the other successful thing about this is he started sleeping longer stretches. So whereas before he didn't know how to put himself to sleep, maybe he was dependent on me to nurse him, now he was waking up at night and then maybe he might cry out and then he'll just roll over and go back to sleep. And last night he went from 2 feedings to 1 feeding all by himself. So the sleep training has definitely paid off. He's getting longer stretches of sleep and he's able to put himself to sleep at night now without crying. So number one, so important, and this is what helped us to be successful, was a solid bedtime routine. So our bedtime routine was something like bath, bottle, book, and bed. Okay, basically. And you want to do your bedtime routine 30 to 40 minutes before bed, depending on your family. But it needs to be the same thing every single night. And another thing that I read about sleep is that try to keep the nursing or the bottle feeding like not the last thing. So you wouldn't want to do bath, book, cuddles, and then bottle, then bed. You wouldn't want to do that. So you want to keep nursing and bottle, because you don't want them to be falling asleep on you. You want to put them down while they're still awake. So we did bath first and then bottle, then we read him a book. We actually then cuddled with him, said a little prayer. I walked around the room with him saying goodnight to various objects in his room, like good night bunny, good night pillow, whatever. And then I gave him a little lovey, which is a little blanket. And then I said, okay, it's time for you to go to bed now. And I put him in his crib and he's wide awake. He's wide awake. And his eyes, he's looking up at us like, it's time to play. He's totally smiling. And then I just put him in the crib and I say, okay, good night. Mommy and daddy love you. We'll see you in the morning. And then walk away, turn off the light, close the door. And that's it. So that bedtime routine, though, is what you want to do every single night before they go to bed. So whether you're at home or even if you're out traveling on vacation, if you can do that bedtime routine consistently in that exact same order, that will help your baby so much. And I think some people, the cry it out doesn't work for them because maybe their bedtime routine is not solid. Like, for example, one night while we were doing cry it out, I think this was the 4th night, we decided to give him a bath, and then 40 minutes later, start to change his diaper, put him his PJs, give him his bottle, his book, and then bed. And he cried and cried and cried after we had already successfully got him to the point where we were putting him in his crib and he was just going to sleep. So, it has to be 30 to 40 minutes before bed, and it's just boom, 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 boom. Whatever you decide your bedtime routine is going to be, make that consistent and solid, and your baby will get it very fast. I think, like, our baby within the second night, he understood, like, oh, okay, next thing is sleep. So, okay, the second thing that's very important is your baby's wake window before bed. Respect that wake window. So if it's 3 hours before bed or it's 4 hours before bed, whatever, depending on how old your baby is, make sure that you time that from the moment that he wakes up from his last nap until his bedtime. So if it's 3 hours, then make sure you put him down at 3 hours. So if you're putting your baby to sleep too early or too late, that is totally going to affect it. And even if you do the bedtime routine solid, they're going to be crying and crying and crying because he's not ready for bed yet. He's undertired, or he's now overtired, and it's hard for him to fall asleep too. So if you keep track of that, so maybe you keep it in an app, or you write it down, or just mentally you tell yourself, okay, he woke up at 5, so his bedtime is going to be 8 o'clock, and make sure you shoot for that 8 o'clock. So one experience that I had, how important this was actually yesterday. This was the 7th night. So on the 6th night, he was going down and he didn't cry at all. Okay, I put him in this crib, wide awake. He had his big goofy smile at me. I turned off the light, walked out, and he just played, rolled around in his crib for about 10 minutes and then fell asleep without crying at all. The 7th night, which was yesterday, we were out at the mall and we were walking around, so he took his last nap in my carrier. And he woke up around 7 something. So my mistake was I saw him wake up and I did not check my phone to see the exact time. In my mind, I knew, okay, it's about 7 o'clock-ish, when it actually was probably like 7:15 or 7:18. So when I put him down for bed, I put him down at 10. So that's about 15 minutes earlier than what his bedtime should. Only 15 minutes. You think that wouldn't make a big deal? And I'm thinking, oh, okay, the night before, he rolled around for 10 minutes, so it should be fine. But I actually didn't even put him down at 10. I ended up putting him down at like 9:50. It was a little bit early because I was rushing through his bedtime routine because he was rubbing his eyes, so I thought, oh, he's tired, so he can go down earlier. No. What happened was I ended up putting him down awake, I closed the door, and he cried for almost 20 minutes. And then he went to sleep by himself. So I just feel bad because I did not respect that wake window. So try and keep your wake window as solid as possible. And I think that's another mistake some people have when they're doing cry it out, is they're not respecting the wake window. And then they put their baby down too late or too early, and they're crying, and they're like, cry it out isn't working, he's still crying, what's going on? Really, if you get your wake window and your bedtime routine down, you should be able to put them in their crib and they will not cry after a couple days of learning, okay, this is the new thing that we're doing. Okay, the third most important thing is be consistent. So pick a night, discuss with your partner when you're going to start the sleep training process. Say, okay, we're doing it Wednesday, and do not waver. If you start on Wednesday, start on Wednesday night. Thursday night, pick 4 or 5 days where you're going to be sleep training your baby and dedicate those days to that sleep training. So, don't be making dinner appointments, or you're going out shopping and you're coming home late and then you're rushing the bedtime routine, or you're forgetting, oh, what time did he wake up from his last nap? Like, really decide this is sleep training, right? So you want to be a good teacher and you really want to help that baby. So that's what we did. We had 4 or 5 days where we did not go out. Really, we had his naps all at home, and we put him to bed, without having to rush around or anything like that. And just trust the process, okay? So if the first night you start and he cries for 45 minutes or an hour, don't give up. Don't say, oh, it's not working, he should just magically fall asleep by himself. No, he's gonna cry the first day. It's just gonna be that. Second day, if he cries, for a long time again, just trust the process. Your baby will learn to fall asleep by themselves. They can do it. They do it all the time. So I think that's another reason why some people are not successful with, cry it out, is that they're rushing it. They want them just to put them in and then they sleep and they're yay, it's not going to happen. So I'll give you some tips on what you can do while they're crying next to help you as mommy or daddy kind of just relax and let your baby do their thing and figure it out, but trust. So what do you do when you put your baby down the first few nights and they're still crying? So for me, I needed to keep busy. Like, if I just sit there and I'm just listening to him cry and cry and cry, that is going to be agonizing, and it's going to make you want to go in and rescue your baby and nurse them to sleep or rock them to sleep, and then you never learn how to sleep train. In fact, what you're doing is you're actually making it harder the next time you try to sleep train, because your baby knows, oh, if I cry for X amount of minutes, mommy or daddy will come and save me. So that's actually why we chose Extinction, because we knew our baby's personality if we kept going in and maybe shushing and patting him, he's just gonna get more and more upset. That's our baby's personality. So you have to figure out, maybe you wanna do Ferber method, but for us, extinction was better. It's just like, you were fed, you're changed, you're clean, you're loved, we put you down, you're safe, walk out, it's time for bed. And it worked really well. But what I needed to do while he was crying was I needed to keep busy. So I did the dishes, I did some laundry, you know, clean your bathroom, like keep yourself busy. Some moms say, oh, they had a glass of wine and they watched a movie with headphones on. That's great. If you can relax while your baby is crying, I think that's awesome. But I could not relax. I couldn't relax until I knew my baby was asleep. So I just needed to keep busy, and that made the time go by really fast, actually. So I was washing dishes and doing laundry, and then all of a sudden me and my husband were like, wait, did the crying stop? And we like listened, and sure enough, he was out. And then I could have my chocolate and a drink and relax at that point. So keep busy during the crying. If you're sitting there just listening to them and then you're crying outside the door, that's very counterproductive. It's not helping anything. So yeah, that's my #1 tip, is keep busy. So I hope this video was helpful and maybe a bit of motivation to you to do, that you can sleep train successfully. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. I'll try to answer those. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And also we're gonna have another part 2, which I actually have video of like our bedtime routine, actually doing that, putting him down to bed. Some of the feelings that I had the first couple nights while he was crying, when he actually fell asleep. So if you'd like to see that, stay tuned, and please subscribe if you can.